Okay, Gianni, if you can hear me, go ahead and message so I know you can hear. Yes, ma'am. Oh, we would have to get you the YouTube link and stuff. Okay, and then you just log on. Okay. Those of you that are in the paper group, go ahead and clear off your desk, please, and do your pre-test first. Gianni, go ahead and study over your spelling, words, and definitions. The words that are written on the board, you'll need to know what they mean. Those of you that are in the classroom, these words on the board, you're going to need to know the definitions for them for your pre-test and your spelling test. So study them, please, while I give the other group their test. Okay, make sure your lists are put away somewhere where you cannot see them, please. this little piece this time. Okay, that's not acceptable. Okay, paper spelling group. Number 1. Write the word equator. Equator. The equator divides the earth equally in half. Equator. Remember what the friend of Q is. Equator. Okay, number 2. Especially. Especially. I especially love food from Sonic. Who brought the Sonic food today? Especially. Especially. How do we have so many balls in here, guys? I know these aren't all ours. We need to have enough to put in our ball bag, and then whatever we can't store in our ball bag needs to go in the ball bin outside, okay? Especially. 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 Remember to divide your words into syllables to help you spell them. Especially. Especially. Has that root word special in it. Especially. Number 3. Establish. Yes, sir. Yes, and then let's not play with our pens. They don't do that on their own, guys. We're making messes with ink because we're messing with our pens. Go wash your hands, Shane, and come right back. I'll watch you from the window. Establish. 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 Number 4. Example. Example. 6th grade, make sure you have your mask on, please. Example. Adam, mask on. Josiah, mask on. Example. He was a good example for his brother. Example. Number 5. Excellent. Excellent. That was an excellent choice for dinner. Excellent. Number 6. Excitement. Excitement. The students showed excitement over the pizza party. Excitement. Excitement. Focus on your spelling, not dribbling, okay? Number 7. Exercise. 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 Number 8. Experience. Experience. Sometimes when you apply for a job, they ask you if you have any experience. Experience. Number 9. Exterior. Exterior. The exterior wall was covered in paint. Exterior. Exterior. Number 10. Familiar. Familiar. It was nice to see a familiar face at the party. Familiar. Familiar comes from the root family. Familiar. Familiar. Do you guys need any of those repeated? Okay. Do your very best filling in the blanks for your vocabulary words. When you are done, listen carefully, real quickly, Tristan and Landon and Tony and Emmeline. When you are finished, I want you to go to grammar, your grammar books. Page 49 through 51 is what we're doing today. You may begin working on that, reading through it. We'll go over it when we get there, but I want you to at least begin it. Okay? Yes. You need one repeated? Which one? 3? 2. Especially. Especially. Anyone else? Okay, book group, go ahead and close up your books, please. Gianni, go ahead and pull out your pre-test paper. Tony, can you go tell Shane in the bathroom? Oh, never mind, he's coming now. Clear off your desk so you have room to write, okay? Put that down for now. Here, we'll go ahead and close your book up. Gavin, I need you to keep your desk where I put it. It needs to go all the way up to the desk. That way she has room behind you, okay? We have to keep our spacing this year. Okay, did everyone get a pretest? Make sure your name is on it. Today is November 4th, the day after the election. Okay, first section is dictation. I'm going to give the spelling word. I want you to write it to the best of your ability. Number 1, chose, chose. She chose to eat a banana for lunch. Chose. Oh, hold on. No. Sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Erase that. If you started to erase that. Sorry, that's next week's. My bad. Number 1. One of you guys are all looking at me like, what? Number 1, reference. Reference. We wrote the Bible reference on our page. Reference. Reference. You can start a new stack for your pretest right there. Number 2, monotony. Monotony. All of these are review words, so it should be an easy pretest this week. Monotony. Monotony. No, those are vocab words, so don't worry about those. Monotony. Number 3, accessible. Accessible. The lake was accessible to those who were staying at the hotel. Accessible. Yes. Can you what? Okay. Take Landon. You have 2 minutes because it's an emergency. Otherwise, normally I don't let you guys go during class time. Accessible. Number 4. Considerable. 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 Number 5, manageable. Manageable, or able to be managed. Manageable. Manageable. Number 6, noticeable, or able to be noticed. Noticeable. Noticeable. This is number 6. Noticeable. Number 7, bicycle. Bicycle. Number 8, binoculars. 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 I use binoculars to look at the bird. Number 9, triceps. Triceps. Tristan, try yourself. Turn around and work, please. Triceps. I was working out, exercising my triceps. Triceps. Number 10, acceptance. Acceptance. Number 11, assurance. Assurance. I made assurance of my salvation. Assurance. What's on the next side over here? Oh, what do you have? You have the wrong paper. How did I give you that paper? That's not cool. I'm sorry, Savannah, you're supposed to have this one. So, start on number 11 and then you can go back and copy those over, okay? Assurance. Number 12, appliance. Appliance. I bought a new appliance for my kitchen. Appliance. Number 13, disturbance. Disturbance. Yes, Gavin? Huh? Number 10 was acceptance. I'll repeat at the end, so if you miss one, just leave it blank and go on, okay? Number 13, disturbance. Number 14, photography. Photography. We taught the students photography in the after-school club. Photography. Number 15, Seismograph. Seismograph. Number 15 is seismograph. On notebook paper, rewrite each of these expressions using possessive nouns. If you can write it small underneath it, it's okay. Number 16, depreciate. Depreciate, meaning to lose value. Depreciate. Depreciate, the opposite of appreciate. Number 17, Christianity. 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 Number 18, neutrality. Neutrality. Number 19, inequality, meaning not equal. Inequality. Inequality. And number 20, severity. Severity. Is that number 19? That was 20? Okay. Severity. Yes, ma'am. Number 3 was accessible. Number 13 was disturbance. Gianni, if you need one repeated, go ahead and type it in the comment section, please. Okay, let me take a look at your paper. You missed Christianity, so just write Christianity number 19 blank. Okay. All right, Josiah. Number 4, considerable. Yes, ma'am. Number 1, reference. Okay, number 1, Gianni, was reference. We wrote the Bible reference on our verse test. Reference. Yes. Huh? 12. Appliance. Okay, did everyone get all of those? Make sure you're using a pen or a pencil. I think we decided on pencils for these, so if you make a mistake, you can erase it. So make sure you're using the correct utensil. Okay, flip your pages over. All of the words are on the board. This is our word bank right here. I'm going to go ahead and move out of the way so Gianni at home can see these. I'm going to give you the definition. You write the correct vocabulary word on the board. The first one we're looking at is going to be this purple list, okay? There is one in this list that you will not use, okay? So make sure you understand that one will not be used. Okay. Number 1 in the vocabulary section. Give me the vocabulary word that means can be eaten. Can be eaten. Number 2, write the vocabulary word that means something that gets in the way. Remember, it's going to be one of these words on the purple list. Something that gets in the way. Number 3, write the vocabulary word that means the study of the earth through rocks. The study of the earth through rocks. No reason to misspell them, by the way, guys, because they're all written out on the board. If you are struggling reading any of the words on the board, you can quietly raise your hand and I will whisper them to you. Is anyone struggling reading them on the board? Can you read them? Okay. This one is defer, monarchy, edible, geology, allegiance, hindrance, and defiance. Okay, number 4. Non-cooperation, rebelliousness, deliberate disobedience. Non-cooperation, rebelliousness, deliberate disobedience. Yes, ma'am. Defer, and then monarchy, edible, geology, allegiance, hindrance, defiance. Number 5, to submit to another's wishes. To submit to another's wishes. Okay, last one in this section. Number 6, devotion or loyalty. Devotion or loyalty. Okay, does anyone need any of those repeated? Shane? Non-cooperation, rebelliousness, deliberate disobedience. Anyone else? Josiah? Number 2, something that gets in the way. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to go on to the pink section. There is one of these vocabulary words that will also not be used. See if I can get this a little closer for you, Gianni. Okay, so one of these pink words will not be used. Number 7. Which vocabulary word on the pink list means being 3 in 1? Being 3 in 1. Being 3 in 1. Yes. Okay. Triune, biennial. Let me just do this for you, Savannah. This might be easier. I'll write it in print right next to it, okay? Remind me next time I write to write in print. I'm in the habit of writing in cursive. that better? Awesome. Okay, so number 7 was being 3 in 1. Being 3 in 1. Number 8, occurring every 2 years or lasting for 2 years. Occurring every 2 years or lasting for 2 years. Number 9. Yes, ma'am. It was. There is going to be one on each list that's not used. So just keep that in mind, okay? Number 9. One who comes down from a common ancestor. One who comes down from a common ancestor. Number 10, that which is ridiculous or silly. That which is ridiculous or silly. That which is ridiculous or silly. You see, Gavin? Number 11, that which comes before in order of importance. That which comes before in order of importance. And number 12, relating to more than the natural universe. Relating to God. Relating more than the natural universe. Relating to God. Okay, does anyone need any of those repeated? Yes, ma'am. Number 11. That which comes before in order of importance. This is put first. Yes.
15, 14, and 15
Yeah, we're not doing those ones. We don't always have 15. It just depends on how the test is laid out tomorrow. Okay? Anyone need anything repeated? Tristan, turn around, please. Anyone need anything repeated? Gianni, do you need anything repeated? Yes. Number what? Number 10. That which is ridiculous or silly. Okay. Anyone else? Going once. Going twice. Okay, make sure your names are on them. I'm going to come around and collect them. Pull out your grammar books and go to page 49. Page 49. How do you think you did? Page 49. What's your pretest? Evelyn, always turn this in when you're finished, please. Okay, we learned so far some capitalization rules, some rules of when to use commas in a sentence. We had a test over those just yesterday. Today we're going to move on and learn some new punctuation rules. So go to page 49. We're going to talk about colons, quotation marks, apostrophes. When do we use these in sentences? A lot of times there are errors using these punctuation marks. Sometimes people don't remember when to use a colon and a semicolon. Sometimes our apostrophes are very commonly misused. So we're going to talk about these rules. Let's look at page number 49. The useful apostrophe is where we're starting today. I hope by the end of this lesson you have clarity on when exactly you would use an apostrophe, okay? Because there are certain times, if you put the apostrophe in the wrong place, for example, this is a common mistake I see right here. What is that with the apostrophe stand for? It is. So I see this all the time. It wagged, it is tail. Okay, so we have to be careful and we have to know the rules of when. When do we use that apostrophe and when do we not use the apostrophe, okay? So let's look at rule number 1. Use an apostrophe to show possession. So if that is the case, then why wouldn't we have IT apostrophe S? There are some exceptions and we have to learn the rules, okay? Look at the blue writing in apostrophe rule number 1 and let's read it once again. I just read it. Let's read it all together. Ready, begin. Use an apostrophe to show possession. Right below that it says if the owner or possessor is a singular noun, add an apostrophe and S, okay? They give you an example here. I'm sorry, language page 49, Peyton. Help you get there, okay? The page numbers are always at the bottom here, or at the top, right here. And this is it right here. So right here. Okay? So they give an example there, friend. Friend. If I was going to make that possessive, that was my friend's mom, then I would put an apostrophe S to make it a singular possessive noun. It says if the owner or possessor is a plural noun ending in S, add only the apostrophe, okay? For example, it was the family's car. Or let's do family's children. Here we're not talking about one family. This is plural, families, okay? If it was singular, it would be family apostrophe S, children. Here we know by looking at this, we have one family, and we're talking about that family's children, okay? Here, families, that's plural. I have more than one family, so we're talking about all the family's children. Okay, maybe there were 3 families, and we're talking about all their children were together. The family's children were playing together after school. So I would not add an apostrophe S. I wouldn't say families, okay? I would just add an apostrophe at the end, okay? So when it's already plural and it ends with an S, what do we add, class? Just an apostrophe all by itself. When it's already plural and it ends with an S, what do we add, class? Just an apostrophe. Do we add an apostrophe S? No, okay? Let's look at the next rule. I want everyone paying attention. Look at the next line there. It says if the owner or possessor is a plural noun, not ending in S, then we would add an apostrophe S, okay? Children. We know that children is plural. If I have one little kid, I have one child. If I have more than one, then I have children. Children is plural, but it does not end in an S. So in that case, I would add apostrophe S. The key to remember is if it's plural and it already ends in S, we only add an apostrophe, okay? Let's look at apostrophe rule number 2. Read it all together nice and loud. The blue bold print. Ready, begin. Use an apostrophe to show that letters or numbers have been omitted from a word or expression. They give you an example there, has not. Does anyone know what this is called? When they take has not and make it into the word hasn't? What is it called, Tony? Someone help Tony out? What is it called? Gavin? A what? No, it's not abbreviating it. It starts with a C. Shane? Say that with me.
Contraction.
Contraction. You learned a lot of contractions when you were going through. I know in second grade you learned contractions. Third grade you learned contractions. We take has not. We eliminate the O, eyes up here. Whenever I take a letter out, I have to replace it with an apostrophe, and then I squish them together. And my new word, my contraction is hasn't. Okay? Is not. What do I take out of this word? What letter? Oh. I kind of think about like peanut butter and jelly. Have you guys ever like made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and you put a little too much jelly on it and then you smush the bread together and what happens to the jelly? Kind of like pops out a little bit, right? I don't know why I imagine this in my head, but I take these words, I smush them together, and the O pops out, okay? So now I have the word isn't, okay? So these are called contractions. Whenever you take a letter out of a word, we're going to put an apostrophe in its place. That tells us there's a letter missing, and that's really the words is not, just kind of shortened and made condensed. Yes, Ariel? It's kind of like what? Canceling out the vowel. Yes, we're basically taking the vowel out to squish these words together. Okay? They give an example, Ed is. Sometimes you guys talk like this. You'd be like, oh, Shane's going to Disneyland. Well, what do you mean by Shane's? Is that plural? He owns Disneyland? Yes. What are you trying to say by that? Shane's going to Disneyland. Liviana? Shane is. We're trying to say Shane is, but we've shortened it. We've condensed it. We kind of made it a contraction in some sort. We took out that E, or that I, and we put an apostrophe in its place. Okay, they give an example there. Ed is, Ed's. Let us. This is a common one. We don't say, let us go eat pizza. You say, let's go eat pizza. Okay, it stands for let us. And then you'll see there the year. Have you guys ever seen the year when it's been written like this? Anyone ever seen that before? Okay, well, if you ever see that, that just stands for 2021. They've taken out the first part. So they take that out and they say, oh, it happened in 21. Okay? It's a shortened way to write the year. Okay? I was born in 84. So many times I'll write 84 like that. So sometimes you'll see that whenever numbers or letters are taken out, we have to put the apostrophe in the place of what's been removed. Yes, Shane? Okay, on what?
Like, on that, if you're talking about, like, does it mean, like, all years?
Does it mean what?
Like, 2020, like, 1900?
Well, there is a 1921, but usually when you're using this, you're using it in a way that's obvious that you're talking about that year, okay? I'm not going to refer to 21 as in 1921 or 1821. I'm going to refer it, whatever I'm using it in, everyone's going to know that I'm talking about this year. Okay, so yes, when you use that year and you abbreviate it, you got to make sure that when you're talking about it, you're using it, it's used and people understand that it's talking about this year. Okay, so you don't usually use this in formal writing anyways because you don't want to abbreviate in formal writing. You don't want to usually even use contractions in formal writing. This is usually just maybe on a contract or something that's really informal. Okay. All right, and then let's look at apostrophe rule number 3. Big, bold, blue words. Let's read them together. Ready, begin. Use an apostrophe and S to form the plurals of letters, numbers, signs, and words used as words. Okay, so for example, if I'm a teacher and I'm saying, hey, you need to work on your letter G's. Okay, I'm going to have my letter G, apostrophe S. Okay, I'm using that letter as a word in this sentence. So that's what they're talking about here. Or you need to copy your 5s. You're going to use an apostrophe S. All right, go ahead and turn your page over. These rules are pretty easy. We're talking about possession, contractions, and when numbers are used as words. Thing A, it says on notebook paper, rewrite each of these expressions using possessive nouns. Okay, number 1, we're just going to go ahead and do this verbally. So if you already wrote it in your book, excellent job, those of you that were on the paper form. Everyone else, we're going to just shout it out loud what it should be. Instead of saying, number 1, the meeting of the coaches. The meeting of the coaches. I wouldn't say we went to the meeting of the coaches. That's a little weird, right? It's worded weirdly. So how would I reword that, condense it using a apostrophe S? The coaches meeting. We went to the coaches meeting, okay? So that would be COACHES. And I know you can write it in if you want to write it in your book just so you have the correct form. Now remember, is this singular or plural right here? Plural, and it ends in what letter? So where would my apostrophe go? After the S at the end. Coaches meeting. Okay? Let's look at number 2. The worth of $1. How would I say this? Yes, sir. Tony. The dollar's worth. DOLLAR apostrophe S. A dollar's worth. Number 3. The uniforms of the players. Savannah? The players' uniforms. Once again, the apostrophe would come at the end because players is plural that ends with an S. The exports of Brazil. Landon? The exports of Brazil. How would I make that possessive? Okay, so here we had the meeting of the coaches, so that would be the coaches meeting. Here we have the worth of the $1, so that would be a dollar's worth. Here we have the uniforms of the players, so that would be players' uniforms. So what would we have here?
Exports of Brazil.
We already have exports of Brazil. How do I make that possessive? Whose exports were they?
Brazil.
Brazil's. So how would I say that? They were Brazil's exports. We need to put an apostrophe S here. Brazil's exports. Okay, let's look at number 5. The habitat of the walrus. Peyton, how do we make this possessive? The habitat of the walrus. I wouldn't say the habitat of the walrus. I would say the... Need some help? Ariel, can you give her help? The walrus's habitat. We put an apostrophe S at the end of walrus and habitat. Why would we have an who thinks say no? Why would we have walrus's habitat? It ends with an S here, so why would I put an apostrophe S here? Adam?
The apostrophe middle is I is I, like the.
Nope. Savannah, what do you think?
Because more than one walrus habitat. Because if you just say the walrus habitat, it's not going to sound right. It's just not one walrus habitat. It's all of the walrus habitat.
Well, if it's a plural that ends in an S, we should only put an apostrophe. So why here? What do you think? The walrus is part of his name. Okay, so we didn't change it to make it plural, right? Like family and families. We didn't change it to make it plural. For all we know, this is one walrus, singular. So we have to add apostrophe S there. Okay. Number 6, the friend of Charles. The friend of Charles. Josiah, how would we make that possessive? Charles's friend. Charles is singular. It's his name. So we have to add an apostrophe S at the end. Charles, apostrophe S, friend. The fees of the doctors. Yes, ma'am. Doctors' fees, only apostrophe at the end because doctors is already plural. Number 8, the games of the children. Emmeline?
Children's games.
The children's games. We have to add apostrophe S to make it plural. Okay, think B. Write the correct possessive form of the noun in parentheses. Go ahead and do 1 through 5. Mrs. Rule is going to come around and just check, see if you're doing it correctly, okay? Okay, so Lois is singular. So here, because it's singular, we have to have an apostrophe S. We only put an apostrophe at the end if it's a plural. It's a plural when it ends in S, okay? Joneses. And that one's good. Boys, good. And have your apostrophes in there where it's not possessive. Good. Okay, you have sisters plural here. So where does the apostrophe need to go? After the S. If there's an S at the end, if it's plural, then the apostrophe goes at the end. Here, sisters. If it's singular, like Lois, then we need to have an apostrophe S. Okay, 6th grade, I still feel like walking around, we're getting confused. And I want to show you something, okay? Let's do these ones on the board. Remember the rule that we talked about where the apostrophe goes at the end is when we have a plural noun. Plural noun that ends in S. Okay? That's when we would put the apostrophe at the end. If we have a singular noun, is Lois more than one person? No, she's one. She's singular. Now it ends in an S, but it's not plural. So we still need to put an apostrophe S here because that is not a plural noun. Okay? So make sure we understand the difference when we would put an apostrophe S. Number 1, mothers. Mothers. Gavin, how did you spell mothers? A-R-S? Is it possessive? What are we learning about? It's possessive. What are we learning about? What is this whole paper about? We're learning about what little punctuation mark? So where does the apostrophe go? Before the S. Mothers. You have a singular noun, we add our apostrophe S. Number 2, sisters. Olive, how did you spell sisters? Apostrophe at the end. Here we have plural, more than one sister, but it's possessive. They are owning something, so we put that at the end. Number 3, I did this one for you. Lois. Singular noun, so we need to have an apostrophe S. Number 4, Joneses. Joneses. Okay, is this a singular noun or a plural noun, class? Plural. Plural. Okay, so where do we need to put the apostrophe then? Yes, ma'am, Savannah.
Right after the E. Like the last E.
But it's a plural noun. It's more than one Jones. Okay, right? This is the real last name. This is plural, meaning more than one Jones. Yes. Goes after the S because it's plural. It's a plural noun, so it goes at the end. And number 5, boys. Boys. Josiah, how do we spell this in a possessive form? B-O-Y-S. It's plural. Apostrophe at the end. That was the boys' locker room. It wasn't just one boys' locker room. It was a multiple boys' locker room. So the S goes at the end. Let's look at think C. Write the singular possessive, plural, and plural possessive of each of the following nouns. The first one is done for you. Use a dictionary if you need help in forming the plurals. We're not going to use a dictionary. We have smart, intelligent brains. Number 1, they show you Alan. Singular possessive would be Alan's, apostrophe S. Lana, please keep your eyes on your books so you can understand. Plural is Alan's, and then the plural possessive, the apostrophe goes at the end. Let's try it. Number 2, mouse. Mouse, what would be the singular possessive of this, Shane? Huh? We already got singular is mouse. So what would the singular possessive be? So now he has something. Let's say it's his cheese. So how would we make that possessive? So we would have mouse's cheese, right? Mouse, singular. Singular possessive. Now that one mouse has something. He has cheese. It's the mouse's cheese. Okay, then we have plural. What is the plural of mouse? Tristan? Good job, mice. Okay, and now the mice have cheese. So how would we make mice plural? Liviana? Yep, adding an apostrophe S. Mice's. It was the mice's cheese. Mouse, singular. We had one mouse in the house. That one mouse had cheese. It was the mouse's cheese. We had 2 mice in the house. The mice had cheese. It was the mice's cheese. Let's look at the next one. Bucket. Bucket. We have 1 bucket. There was water in the bucket. So how would we make that possessive, Tristan? Bucket apostrophe S. It was the bucket's water. The bucket's handle. We'll do handle. The handle that belonged to the bucket. It was the bucket's handle. Okay, now we have more than 1 bucket, so how would we make the plural of bucket? Tony? Spell it for me. Okay, now we have 2 buckets, and those 2 buckets have handles. They are the bucket's handles. Adam, how would I spell buckets in plural possessive? S apostrophe. Okay, because remember when we have a plural possessive that ends in an S, the apostrophe goes at the end. Okay, let's do number 4, woman. Woman. There was 1 woman at the store. That woman had a purse. It was the woman's purse. How would I make this possessive in a singular form, Josiah? Woman with an apostrophe S. If I have more than 1 woman, what is the plural of woman? Women. W-O-M-E-N. If those women had purses, it would be the women's purses. How would I spell that, Emmeline?
W-O-M-E-N-S.
E-N what? S apostrophe? But this is the plural form, so it doesn't end in an S. So then I need to have what? Apostrophe S, right? Okay, the apostrophe only goes at the end if it already ends in an S. But this plural doesn't end in an S. Women is plural, doesn't end in an S, so we have to add apostrophe S. Okay? Number 5, ox. It was the ox's field. How would I make it possessive, Tristan? Apostrophe S. Nope, you're right. Oxes. Okay, what is the plural of ox, Shane? Oxen. What's the plural of box? Shouldn't it be boxen? I got a boxen of donuts. Okay, so oxen is plural here. How do I make that possessive? It was the oxen's field. How to make it possessive, Gavin? Okay, but we don't have an N for our plural. So when it doesn't end in an N, then we need to have apostrophe S. Okay, remember. The apostrophe comes at the end when the plural ends in an S. If the plural doesn't end in an S, then we have to add apostrophe S. Okay, the apostrophe only comes at the end when the plural already ends in S. Okay, don't get confused. Some of you are still mixing that up. Number 6, calf. Calf. It was the calf. The calf had milk. It was the calf's milk. Liviana, how do I make calf possessive? Spell it for me. Good. What is the plural of calf?
Calves.
Calves. Spell it for me. Good. C-A-L-V-E-S. It was the calves' milk, so how would I make this plural? Someone that hasn't been raising their hand, Ariel? Good. Since the plural ends in S, we just add an apostrophe at the end. Okay, hopefully you're getting these written in your pages as we're going through together. Number 7, man. Man. There was one man at the party. It was the man's soda. How would I make man possessive? Can you give it a try now, Peyton? How would I make man possessive? It was the man's soda. We're making it possessive, not plural. The man's soda. One man and he had a soda. How would I spell that? Man's soda. Yep. I would add an apostrophe S. It was the man's soda. Now you knew the next one. How do I make that plural for man? Meaning more than one. Men. Good. And Peyton, I'll let you finish it off. How do I make men possessive now? It was the men's sodas. I would copy that plural over, and then how do I make it possessive? Apostrophe S. It was the men's sodas. Okay, we're almost done. Lady. I'm running out of room here. Lady. It was the lady's purse. How would I spell that, Liviana? Okay, how do I make it plural, Liviana? Good. And how do I make it plural possessive? Good. I'm going to do the last two up here, okay? We have deer. Deer. Okay, if it was the deer's food, how would I make it possessive, Landon? Huh? For possessive? The deer's food? We're taking deer, the singular form. We already have it here. Now I need to make that possessive. It was the deer's food. How would I make that deer's possessive? By adding an apostrophe S. Deer's. It was the deer's food. Now how would I make that plural? Class? Deer again. And how would I make that plural possessive? The apostrophe S again, because it doesn't end in S. So that one's the same for singular and plural. Last one, goose. There was a goose in the pond. It was the goose's beak. How would I make it singular possessive? Possessive first. Okay, how do I make it plural, Savannah? Geese. Geese. And how do I make it plural possessive, Ariel? There we go. Okay, guys, we will work on page 51 tomorrow, okay? There's no homework today. Gianni, don't worry about page 51. If you want to work ahead, you can. We'll work on that tomorrow. Let's pray for lunch. Heads bowed, eyes closed. Have a good day, Gianni. We'll see you tomorrow.